Took me a while to try to connect that, but is my volume up? Yes. So again, folks, again, um, I am Sergeant Marco Anthony DeLeon, and I have been advocating for myself, my family, to try to get the correct diagnosis for what's killing me. I sustained head injuries, back injuries, arm injuries, all sorts of injuries overseas, and elected to come home and take care of my injuries um, as I saw fit. I was given that option. They call it a demobilization, and when you go through that when you get back from a combat zone, and um, I if you know anything, if those who know, I did not want to stay a single second to address any possibility of some issue that I'm having. I did have some documentation of my injuries overseas, but they're very vague. And, my whole purpose of being overseas, I was in my 30s when I volunteered to help my country and our country. And so I really wanted to do what I needed to do and just get back home. And so I did. Uh, I am now having problem with trying to get a diagnosis for a TBI. I received a few injuries, like I said. Um, um, as I was progressing when I got home to try to get some medical attention, I also had to work. And believe it or not, that is hurting me as a status because a lot of folks at the VA, and believe me when I say this, people at the VA literally talk to me about being at work and how can I possibly work if I have a TBI and a back injury and all this stuff. I would literally have that conversation with these people at the VA. I didn't know much at 210 when I got back about the VA, and nobody does. Nobody's an expert at it, no matter how much time you spend at the VA. They're just the VA is so politically okay, um, um, run by its own policy procedure. Its government is too big to fail. Oh yeah, and you know damn well as I do that people protect their jobs, and um, when Trump in office gave the veterans some wiggle room uh, uh, to hold some of the people accountable in the federal government. That was a big deal. And and now that 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 process was given to us veterans, um, the VA had to adapt to that. And what I mean by that is they since the government is it's an active living breathing thing, the federal government, right? Um, it and politically motivated depending on who's in office, and so they had to bob and weave to go around this policy that that Trump had wanted to help veterans with and enact policies to have veterans have a little power to deal with their own medical issues and be able to fight for themselves and advocate for themselves. And God bless the man. I mean, God bless him for helping us do that. I knew nothing about that. When you're not working for the government, you don't know much. You just go along to get along until something actually happens, and then you have to deal with it. And that's everyday life, right? Especially the federal government. Tight on policies, procedures, codes, and rules, regulations. So now that the VA has had some time, um, they definitely want to keep their jobs, right? People want to hold on to their jobs no matter what. And so they learned, the VA has learned, and these are people, these are everyday people. So it's not like there's some person in some dungeon room who's saying we got to beat this Trump policy to help veterans, fight and um, um, so they can help fight for themselves to hold people accountable for mistreating them or misinterpreting, giving themselves their own power and thinking they know everything about what's going on and putting a veteran in a bad situation. And that's the whole point. That is exactly the entire point of me struggling here. 210 returning. I've been struggling to get a solid uh, um, diagnosis for a TBI, which has caused fine motor dysfunctions throughout my entire body. You can't see it now because I haven't pointed it out, but you can see the face. For example, in my face, it seems like I had a stroke and I have this slurry and uh, hard to talk. Right side of my face is because I have a central nervous system dysfunction due to a TBI, and because of that, um, it has caused a lot of problems throughout my entire body. Some of it induced, some of it not. It was in a secondary sort of ailment, due to things that I had developed because of my central nervous system dysfunction. So I've been trying to get this TBI, and the VA right now, as since Trump left, I've been trying to bob and weave through figuring out how they can keep their employees from being fired, right? Um, because that's what everybody's purpose is to have a good job or some paying job, and nobody wants to get fired. And so they've learned how to find a loophole to protect their people. They move them around just like any other simple way to figure out how to get around it. Any policy that they have to battle with. So I've been dealing with policies, procedure, politics through the VA, and um, it has not helped me one bit. Um, so there's a lot I can discuss about VA issues. I am going to do a podcast, recorded podcast situation, so that way people can comment and discuss and ask questions. I'm not much of a correspondence sort of person, but I do need to address my issue of getting this TBI from my family and I. It's an extreme issue. It being that the central nervous system is pretty much everything. My brain has some dysfunction, depression, memory loss, speech impediment, tremors. I have developed secondary issues and direct result like diabetes. I've had family diabetes, but I don't, I was always a very healthy person, especially coming through the military. And then, that's one of your most healthiest times. And, developed diabetes right away, right when I got back. The pancreatitis, I got it. I'm not a drinker, smoker, drug user. Um, um, and high blood pressure. I've always had high blood pressure even before the service, but I was able to control it without medication, work out, that sort of stuff. Always been thin, not heavy, healthy, very healthy person. I'm a Native American um, and Irish, and so it's it's been a long road for me to try to get all my situations in order to address it. I haven't had any luck. I think the thing that bothers me the most right now is the people who are supposed to be um, authorized, and it's part of their job description to help me get myself organized and situated. Um, and those are our dignitaries, politicians. I've been battling it since 2010 with Ron Barber. You can look his name up. He was a Democrat. I didn't have any choice but to go with them. I'm a Republican. It doesn't matter. Our veteran status goes across all boards. And, uh, every single one of those politicians, that's how a lot of them get elected is, would you do anything to help protect veterans? Not anything, but I mean, we use all your power. Well, of course, right? Of course. They use that, but in reality, once they learn how the system works with veterans, they abandon it immediately. They just give up on it. So right now, I have a Juan Ciscomani who just got elected. I voted for him. Good Lord, right? Republican, Oro Valley, Arizona, and he hasn't reached out to me at all. Even though there's some policies and procedures that they have to follow themselves as a person, as a citizen, as me as a veteran, him as an elected official, he should at least, the least, contact me and express his concern for my issue. Right? I haven't had any of that. Not a single word, not a single communication from him, which I reached out to him. Right now, I'm dealing with Kirsten Sinema. She's a senator. Of course, she's more worried about her sexuality. That's one of the issues she's pointed out, and I'm just pointing it out because she pointed it out. If she didn't point it out, it wouldn't be an issue. Um, and I've gotten to the point of just communicating with her where I said, as a senator, I know you have some powers to direct me here, direct me there, keep a tab on me, keep moving me forward because I'm a veteran and veterans are priority, right? Um, and she just dropped my case. She just dropped my case because I said, hey, you got to help me. I'm bleeding here. I'm bleeding out with all my compassion and information to help you help me. And I need somebody to help me because they're kicking my can down the road. Nobody wants to admit that there were some faults to address a TBI in which they didn't in the beginning. I didn't, but nobody wants to zero it out and start over and say, hey, look, it was a screw up. Yeah, we could really assist you with this and get you moving forward. and let's do it, get some medical treatment for it, things like that. So she just dropped me. I said, hey, if I have to, I will file a complaint against you because you, as a senator, you have a duty, and your duty is to not give up as a senator, right? It's not, you have an option, but that's not your duty. Options are options according to the situation, not an option because of your job description. Doesn't say, well, can I help a veteran or not help a veteran? Well, my option is not to help a veteran. Well, that's not your option. You have to help me. All right. Unless you don't want to. And then I can spread that word out and get you out of that seat. And that's basically what the complaint is about. It's an ethics complaint. I know she can forward me and assist me to other people. Like she could send me back to Juan Ciscomani and say, hey, he's reached out to me. He's working with you. There's this separation between Congress and senators, and you can only work with one person at a time, which is a bunch of bullshit. Working with the one person at a time is a bunch of bullshit. If us veterans can get help from anybody, which it should be, then there should be no restriction, no limit, right, to how much people can help me, because senators have their own power, Congress people have their own power. I mean, yes, they're reaching out of the same bucket, but check this out. So what? Okay, some Congress people will say, "Hey, look, I'll take it from here, or you take it from here. You have more leverage here. You have more. I mean, that's the way we should be treated. But I'm not being treated at all. All right. So basically, I'm forgotten, and don't leave a soldier behind. Well, I'm being left behind, and it's hard to that's hard to swallow because I don't believe it, and what I actually really don't believe is the complete lack of interest into my medical situation, my injury that I have received. The doctors don't find any interest in what's going on with me, and I'll explain that in a second. And the politicians don't want to use their leverage to help me. Okay. Um, the doctors, my situation is I have a central nervous system problem. I lose motor function if a doctor does surgery on me in any way. The central nervous system picks up on that surgery and acts and takes it. What it does is it takes it as an injury. It takes it as a severe um, uh, case of it being a function where the brain where I'm injured, um, the inside, the cells, they're damaged already. So when you cut me open and the central nervous system picks up on it, the damaged cell already wants to shut it down. So it does. It doesn't want to move around like some TBIs or some brain injuries, work around where you get injured and you can't move, but then they do physical therapy and they come back. That's not my case. Mine's like a demyelination, like a MS. It's done. It's gone. It ain't coming back. Okay. It's a injured cells that don't regenerate. And since they don't regenerate, they're not going to pass anything on because the brain is thinking that it's injured. It can't pass it. It can't say, well, go reroute to a different place. It can't do that. So as a doctor, I would find that one hell of an interesting case. Wouldn't you think? Would you not think that, like, man, this is why I'm a doctor? Let's do some research on you. You guys dig what I'm saying? I mean, seriously, it's like, so what has gone on with you? I need to sit down with for a week with you and figure out what's going on. That's how long it'll take. So injuries, if I get injured, like I was shooting rifles, the butt stock went in here. I can't move my right arm much unless I jerk, and that's hard to explain all this stuff. But I lost the pectoral here, right? Lost the pectoral, and because of the rifle shooting, the nervous system picked up on it that bad. It was a pretty big bruise, only because my right arm was working, so I had to figure out a way to shoot. So I figured the best, most comfortable way. It was sitting really wrong on me, but that was the way I can shoot, and so I did it, and it caused problem, consequence. So now I have this case of, basically I got to live in a bubble. I can't get injured. If somebody would have whipped my butt, I could die immediately. Just because of this the issue with the central nervous system. It's not because, oh, it's something just unfortunately no. This is a continuous uh um uh issue that I have that's going on with me like a disease. So it's not a good case to be in, right? So I lose function, and also I've been losing function just because it was going through its process of since 2010 when I came back from Iraq, sustaining the injuries, to I guess settle down or do whatever the brain had to do, right? Um, and so now it seems like it's the progression of it has really slowed down, but it still affects me. So whatever's hanging on motor function wise, it's I got to be very careful. So I find that strange as a doctor. Right? Doctor doesn't find me interesting. No curiosity, no medical curiosity whatsoever. And our politicians they have all failed me. Right? I've written to Newsmax, Fox News, some people on the radio. Um, I've done a lot of things. I can't even remember. My brain is just getting worse and worse as far as needing to remember things, right? I've done so much stuff, been down so many roads, DAZ, VFW, Purple Heart Organization, the VA's programs, all these programs, Wounded Warrior program. Um, it's just unbelievable, unbelievable. Okay, that um, that no one that has the power, no one that has the leverage, no one has the medical curiosity, the medical benefits, has reached out to me to send me down a path to assist me. Even assist, not even try to figure out what's going, just assist me. Like, hey, we got to, keep moving with you on this because you're in a serious situation, right? I'm the only one talking this way. No one else is doing it. Right? I'm developing all the stuff. Like I said, my diabetes, who knows if I would have got it later since I have it in my family, but I've been healthy. Just got out of the military. More healthy do you want to be? Very healthy, running, exercising, eating right, keeping weight down. Why should I get diabetes? Okay. Even though I'm successful, it maybe would have happened much later. But no, pancreatitis. How do you get pancreatitis? There's several ways to get it. I should not have pancreatitis. Okay. I got poor eye movement. My eyes don't move fully this way, up. They do fully down. My mouth, my neck, my arm. This arm's getting weak now. The lattices, the pectorals, the legs, the buttocks, and some other private things not working. I can't move it. I can only move if I move my entire body to get this kinetic energy to send the signal. So it's like an involuntary movement. But if I were to sit there and you tell me to move my right arm finger, I couldn't do it at all. I have to, right? Everything's so Um, so that's my case, and I just need some. I need a miracle. I need a miracle. I need something to happen. I mean, I've been praying to God that one of these ailments get really bad, and people say, "Oh, see, there it is. There's a TBI," because they can't see shit. They can't see what's going on. Why am I losing motor function? Saying I'm lying, saying this guy has a psychological problem. He's cray cray, and I've been dealing with this guy since I told you 210, and it's time, right? It's time to fire a lot of people. I can't wait to get in a position where I have somebody to actually, I'm on live, so to actually find some sort of interest into what's going on with me, right? It's not as though I wasn't. I'm just some dude, and I have this thing, right? No, I got injured overseas, right? Who gives a shit about the documentation? Let's let's put the dots together, line them up, and say, oh yeah, well shit, dude, come on, man. Where else would you get what you have, right? And I over explained myself, to a lot of people. So Kirsten Cinema, boo, you need to go. Debbie Lesko, boo, get out of there. Juan Ciscomani, as far as I'm thinking right now, none of them have reached out. So I get to say this. You're gone. Unless they make some progress and help me, I'll change this to this and maybe this, right? But right now, you know, they get a zero. They get a goose egg. So this is where I sit. This is where I've been struggling. Uh, you know, my family have to adjust to everything that I cannot do. Um, I've struggled to adapt. I've been struggling to get medical help. I've been struggling to get medical devices to help me. VA assisted living assigned things. They're all the VA is just they're confused, and so I have to beg, literally, people. I have to beg for all this stuff. I have to go down to the VA and convince them, look, I cannot move. What's wrong with you guys? I have to go there and do it. And when once that happens, they don't mess around at the VA, right? I've gotten arrested once at the VA, put in the VA jail. Yeah, you know, I got out of that situation. But once a veteran starts, especially me coming from a war, veterans like ourselves coming from a war, current war, they don't want to mess around with you. They don't mess around. So, um, so thanks for hearing my rant. And I need to. I wanted to play some guitar and stuff, but I'll do that some other time. Right now, I got to. I was just trying to get this Facebook thing up and running. I'm glad I fixed it. Man, I tell you, this conflict between passwords and them talking to each other, syncing it, and what I don't understand is there's like two Facebook sites. I don't know. I mean, that's I get on this thing I'm using now, Restream, and it uses Facebook, but not the one I'm logged into. I don't understand that. So I finally fixed it. I'm on it, so now I get to stream, all over the place. And so here I am, Oro Valley, Arizona. It's getting hot. Thanks y'all for listening. If you want to do something and feel like you have done, had some purpose in your life, or maybe helping a veteran, I'm a veteran you can help. Okay. Marco Anthony De Leon. Marco, well, let me give you my email. Marco.a DeLeon, the number one, at gmail.com. So it's D as in Delta, ELEON, uh, and Marco dot A as an alpha, DeLeon, the number one, at gmail.com. You can email me there. I'd like to get some advice, some leads, some people I can call to really make a difference. I mean, I'm telling you, people, it's got to be something good because I've been down the yellow brick road, and just by walking on it, I've changed the color of that road just by sheer walking. You know, I mean, I polished the hell out of that road. So I've been down a lot of roads, people. I need direct, like, let's get it done. I have an attorney, but the attorney don't want to do anything. You know, they're trying to file. It takes 6 months for this, takes 6 months for that. It's absurd. You know, I have a malpractice situation, I think. I definitely have a medical neglect issue, right? It's complete medical neglect through the VA. So I have a case, but nobody wants to touch it. So you guys can send me some stuff there. I'd really appreciate it. And that's what I got. Boom.